Have you ever had that one series that you're addicted to? That one thing that you spend months, if not years of your life committed to, playing non-stop, but then suddenly you hit a wall. You start getting sick of playing the same thing over and over again, just going round in circles, wanting more content. But that content, it never comes out, whether it just gets cancelled, delayed endlessly, or even was just a rumour that everybody thought was going to happen, and we still don't know if it's going to happen, aka Crash Bandicoot's Wumpa League. Just announced it already, guys. It's been like 2 years at least. So now you're left with no new content, so you're losing how you felt about a series. But you're not the only fan of this game, and if anyone knows anything about fans, they're devoted. So devoted in fact that many times they've taken the initiative to make this missing content themselves. That content being Fangames, mods, and everything in between. FNAF is one of the most commonly known series for its fangame, some debatably being as well known as the franchise itself. Five Nights at Candy's being a perfect example of this. However, this game, if I'm being honest, is terrible. Worst game ever. Or maybe not that bad, but there are certainly better fangames for the franchise. One Night at Flumpted is a perfect example of a better game. Sure, it seems like it will be extremely short, right? One night, not much of a game there, but it gets harder all in the same night. So you'll start off like playing something even your dog could play, but oh boy, you could not be more wrong. This 2D fangame about an egg truly is a masterpiece. It has an art style that makes you feel settled and relaxed, but also leaves you unsettled because the jump scares will catch you off guard completely. And sure, it has no lore on the surface, but it's packed full of Easter eggs, pun not intended, making it sure to be a must play for fans of FNAF, despite only starting off with an inside joke from Johnny Crone. Another well-known name in the FNAF fangame community is Mixler. If I'm being honest, this guy is amazing, literally the only guy I have tweet notifications on for, but I'm not going to ramble on about why he's so great. This is a fangame video after all. Mixler has some amazing games for the community, such as Baby's Nightmare Circus. I want to talk about his fangame of one of Scott's other games, Chipper and Sons. Chipper and Sons was just a simple game about a beaver and his daddy run their own lumber company, with a fair bit of lore, but that's probably going to get its own video at some point. Mixler's game, Parkinson, takes this idea and absolutely knocks it out of the park. If I've never heard of Chipper and Sons, I genuinely think this is a full game on its own. To simplify the game down so I don't end up ranting for about an hour, Tyke has a son. This son is Mike, and Mike is now old enough to, like Tyke did in the original, start helping in the family business, doing many tasks for the local residents of the forest in the town which I forgot the name of. Does the town even have a name? Well, that's not all. His granddad, Chipper, is missing. You have to uncover stuff behind his disappearance. The lore goes much deeper than this, but this is about as much as I can say without spoiling the whole game. Gameplay wise, there's boss fights and also a ton of minigames which you can play for reward, without the Frog's Quest. Mixer's had an opportunity to make a minigame even harder than the Frog's Quest, and nobody understands the Frog's Quest, but he just passed up on it. But I've not even said the best thing in it yet. There's ducks! On top of this, during the night, you have to play a FNAF style game mode before you can sleep, adding another unique factor to the game's already exciting content. This mode was also featured in post-game content with a custom night known as 1422 mode that wasn't even beaten until last month. The art style, phenomenal soundtrack and story with more twists than the Smiler at Alton Towers make it one of the best fan games to date. I feel like I've spent enough time talking about fan games related to FNAF content though. This isn't a FNAF channel after all. One of the best fan games that I've played that gets nowhere near the amount of love or attention it deserves is Around the Clock at Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob is in a weird situation when it comes to games and fan games. The games are debatably declining in quality, and the fan games are all over the place. I mean, just look at Mr. Krabs' overdoses on ketamine. Truly a game for the ages. On a serious note though, Around the Clock and Bikini Bottom is one of those games that just sticks with you. Sure, it doesn't have a meaningful story or anything like that, but it just stands out from the crowd. So, it's a horror game. I swear to God this isn't a FNAF video, you've got to believe me. As I previously said, it's a horror game. The last thing you would expect for something SpongeBob themed, but it just works. Simple, cute art style is perfect for a game which constantly makes you uncomfortable and always catches you off guard. The game also sees the return of some of the most forgotten characters from SpongeBob, the Jellians, taking the key role in the story. They're the Jellian invasion, and the cloning and kidnapping. Fish snapping? all of the residents of Bikini Bottom, and it took SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward and Mr. Krabs to stop them. Where are Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy when you need them, eh? The game features a variety of different locations from the show, 16 to be exact, every single one featuring its own level. These levels all feature unique gameplay too, with some being self-based, others being shooters, and even full-on platformers at some points, and certainly isn't a game that you should miss out on. It gets 10 Krabby Patties out of 5 chum buckets. Yet another fan game that doesn't get attention today is Penguin RPG Reunion. What do you think it's a fan game of? Club Penguin, of course. You really think I could go through a whole video about talking at least once about the chilly winter world that we once loved? Why did I make that so hard to say? Penguin RPG Reunion is one of the only Club Penguin fan games around, one that's actually good at least. My god, this game has one of the most beautiful art styles ever. They managed to make pixel art look fluffy. I'm genuinely in love with it. Before I rant on about the art style, this isn't just some small fan project with like 2 rooms and that's it. It has a full-fledged story which follows the tale of 2 penguins that need to stop a mysterious organisation from taking over Nevius, their home, as well as save their families. It also has a fully fledged battle system and over 50 achievements. If you didn't know what Club Penguin was, you would think it's just a general RPG. That's how amazing it is. There are also some excellent fan games still in the works currently for all different games and genres. Whether you're a Viva Pinata fan, a Bloons fan, or anything else for that matter, you'll be sure to find a fan game that you'll love, as there's probably a community out there making one right now. Sure, they're going to take a while to come out, but they're absolutely worth the wait. First I'll start off with quite a simple one. Well, it's a bit mean to word it like that, but it has the simplest premise of both of these games which I want to talk about. Bloons Tower Defense X2. Try saying that one 5 times fast. Obviously it's a sequel to Bloons Tower Defense X, a Bloons fan game released by Rameth Party. Bloons Tower Defense X was revolutionary for the time. It released way before BTD6, had a whole 24 towers, one of which is the Alchemist, which I like to think Ninja Kiwi stole, but at the end of the day, all that shows is how great of a fan game it was. That wasn't the only neat thing about the towers, they also had 4 paths, and that's more than the official games had. Revolutionary stuff right here. Adding on to it, the game also featured many new balloon types, some which drove me to insanity, 30 new maps, and boss balloons, aka HOW. And you guessed it, BTDX2 is going to be bigger, better, and balloonsier. All of this and more. More balloon and more monkey. Now that I'm writing this, I'm realising how hard it is to talk about a game about monkey popping balloons that isn't even out yet. How the fuck do people make a living off of this? The other game which I want to talk about today is Viva Pinata, Return to Paradise. Everybody knows Rare's Viva Pinata franchise. Sure, it's overshadowed by their much bigger games such as Banjo-Kazooie and Sea of Thieves, but that doesn't mean that Viva Pinata isn't a great game. Sadly, however, the game only received 2 main games. There were some spin-offs, but they don't really count. And that is why, for the past 4 years and counting, there have been a small team hard at work to make the sequel that the game deserves. Sure, progress is slow, and the wait's been long, but you've got to remember that this isn't the official dev. There isn't a team of thousands of people, and the progress is sure to pay off. From the stuff I've seen so far, it looks amazing. Not only is it being made from the ground up with completely new models and sprites for everything, it also has new decorations, new pinatas, new mechanics, and even new aquatic pinatas which were scrapped from the original games. On top of this already overflowing pile of content, there's also the idea of Super Sours, a branch of sours created by Pester which you can directly control. They're smarter, scary, and a whole lot more interesting. It sure isn't a fan game that you want to miss out on. Modding also plays a huge part in some games communities, with the games not being the same about them. The most obvious game for this is Minecraft. I mean, mod packs were literally what dominated YouTube back in like 2015, and for good reason. Tens, if not hundreds of mods were fully in the spotlight, showing how big and great of a community Minecraft has, and how far you could go from the original game while still playing it. All around amazing, honestly. Pixelmon was by far one of the biggest mods in Minecraft. Obviously it was a Pokemon mod, but what did it actually do? Just add Pokemon? A few more mobs which serve for no other purpose? No. It added literally everything that was in Pokemon. Catching Pokemon, battling Pokemon, breeding Pokemon, Pokemon centers, Pokemarks, you name it, this mod has it all. It even has gyms. Now you can see why this became one of the most popular mods on it. Another game which is full of mods by the community which make the game literally perfect is Find and Visor. The first Isaac mod which I want to talk about is Fiend Folio Reheated. This mod is huge. Over 500 unique enemies, around 150 items, hundreds if not thousands of new rooms, and a ton of new challenges, some which are basically impossible. Cost Dad's Home Plus and the Gauntlet, which I honestly managed to rig somehow. I don't really know what else to say apart from downloading, you won't regret it. Another mod for Isaac which had a similar premise was Antiverse, but the thing about Antiverse is, it was so good that it got officially added to the game in Repentance. Not much else you can say apart from that, to be fair. But how about the time that the Fangames don't go to plan, when the company who owns the IP just isn't feeling it for some reason? The main instance of the game being forcefully taken down is probably Pokemon Uranium. Uranium was arguably the biggest fan project ever to come out of the Pokemon community, taking not just 1 or 2, but 9 whole years to develop. This commitment was shown during its short launch, as the game featured over 150 new Pokemon, a completely new region, obviously, all other features that you expect from a Pokemon game. It was arguably better than the official games themselves, with one critic even going as far to say that it was a deep, fulfilling round of familiar mechanics and a mature evolution of the best franchise it's paying homage to, even receiving a nomination for the Game Award Best Fan Creation. However, it was shortly removed from this category. But why was it removed from this category? It didn't do anything wrong, right? The sprites were custom, so were the creatures themselves, even the soundtrack was. That mystery is still around to this day, with literally nobody having a clue why Nintendo with DMCA this excellent work of art and community spirit, and the only plausible reason coming up being that they did it with most fan games, as well as the most realistic answer of it being released in a similar time period for much weight as Sun and Moon game, which was understandable yet still heartbreaking. And that leads us to the inevitable end of this video. What are your favourite fan games that I missed out on? Thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Goodbye.